Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Week 8 of Sloti Central. I'm Jason Horowitz, and joining me later in the show will be Mike Fabiano. That's right, Mike Fabiano. Well, Mike, as we approach Week 8, let's talk about roster trends. What's hot and what's not this week, Mike?
Well, good evening, everybody from Frosty Whitehorse. Well, Jason, there's all sorts of hot players up there you might be able to pluck off the wire this week. The one exception would be if you happen to play in a 16-team league. But I just can't see any guys stupid enough to get together and play in a league and put themselves through that sort of fantasy season. But if you happen to be in a 16-team league, you know what, guys? Roster trends is not for you. Wanna know why? Because the waiver wire is depleted. All the players are sitting on benches and rotting. You might as well all be playing fantasy coin flip.
Yeah, Mike, you make a good point there. Much of the advice that we do give here on this show is directed to much smaller leagues, not these 16-team leagues. So you know what? Let's throw that advice out, and let's move on to our emails. Well, Mike, let's move on to our first email. Our first email comes from a guy from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, goes by the name of Paul Wurzak. Paul Wurzak plays in the Sloti Football League, fantasy football on CBS.com. Paul reads, "Dear Fantasy Guru," he goes, "I heard a few years ago that Eagles tackle John Runyon recorded a fumble for a TD. Do you know if it would be a good idea for me to add John to my fantasy football team? Because you know what, Jason? I love the Eagles." Well, Paul, here's my advice for you. Adding Mr. Runyon would be as stupid as adding Hank Basket. Mike, what do you think up in Whitehorse about that idea?
Well, thanks again, Jason. I have an email myself here, and this one comes from the Carpathian Mountains in the Ukraine. How's about that? This is what it reads. It says, "Dear Guru, I am the commissioner of a 16-team fantasy league. I am thinking of dropping 4 teams next year, but I don't want hard feelings. What do I do?" And that's from Commish Luke H. from the Carpathian Mountain region of Ukraine. Well, Luke, I'd suggest before you worry about your commish duties, you should probably worry about more trivial things like registering your car. However, 5 more seasons of funding the league manager, that would equal about 1 fine of that sort. So you should figure that stuff out for yourself.
That's some great advice, Big Bad Mike. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up here at Sloti Central. Hope everyone had a good experience for Week 8, and all the best wishes to you and your fantasy football team. For Michael Fabiano and Whitehorse, I'm Jason Horowitz. Good luck in Week 8.